Και να πάμε τώρα στη συνέντευξη που έδωσε ο Πρωθυπουργός στο Bloomberg.
Ναι, δεν μπορεί να υπάρξει, είπε ο Πρωθυπουργός, λύση στον πόλεμο της Ουκρανίας, ερήμην της Ουκρανίας και ερήμην της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης. Τόνισε ότι επήγει η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση να αποκτήσει ενιαία φωνή και να ενεργοποιήσει τη ρήτρα διαφυγής για τα κονδύλια για την άμυνα, θυμίζοντας ότι η Ελλάδα ξοδεύει ήδη το 3% του ΑΕΠ της σε αμυντικές δαπάνες. Και αναφορικά με τον εμπορικό πόλεμο του Ντόναλντ Τραμπ, ανέφερε ότι ελπίζει να τον αποφύγουμε, αλλά σε κάθε περίπτωση, αν αυτός γίνει πραγματικότητα και ο Αμερικανός πρόεδρος τις απειλές του τις κάνει πράξη, τότε η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση θα πρέπει να απαντήσει. Να δούμε τι είπε στην τηλεόραση του Bloomberg ο Κυριάκος Μητσοτάκης.
President Trump is a very smart man, and he has his own unique way of expressing himself. But I think that in principle, I think we need to agree on certain fundamentals, and I'm sure that these statements that I will make are also also reflect the view of our American friends, that we need peace through strength. That obviously there can be no solution for Ukraine without the Ukrainians being involved, and of course there can be no security arrangement for Europe without the Europeans also being involved. So I think we're at a relatively delicate state when it comes to these discussions. And of course, Europe also needs to come up and emerge with a unified voice. And we need also to do what is expected from us in order to commit to our own security, not just Ukraine's security. Francine, I've always been a strong advocate of Europe doing more to take control of its own security priorities. As you know, and as you pointed out, Greece is a country that is spending more than 3% of our GDP on defense, and we have been consistently exceeding the 2% threshold at times when richer European countries were not contributing to our common sort of defense budget in the way that they should. So, I mean, this is really the time when we need to move from words to actions. We need to spend more on defense. We need more fiscal flexibility when it comes to the European rules to allow us to spend more on defense without breaching European expenditure rules. This is something which has been acknowledged by the President of the Commission. I've been lobbying very hard to get to that point. And of course, I think we also need some sort of joint European borrowing facility that will allow us to implement projects of European common interest, such as a European missile shield, which would benefit the entire continent. Again, we've been talking a lot about these priorities over the past years, and I think now we're faced with what I would call sort of a rude awakening in a sense, and we need to move from words to action. So when President Trump many years ago pointed out that we didn't spend enough on defense, he was in principle right, and we need to make sure that we make up for the lost ground. We don't want to get into a trade war with the United States, but should it be necessary, of course, Europe is going to respond. I think we still have time to avoid that. I think it would be bad for both our economies, both the European economy and the American economy. And I've always been advocating that if there are unilateral gestures that Europe can make to level the playing field, it should proceed with doing so sooner rather than later. But again, we should have no doubt that in case Europe is put in a position where tariffs are imposed unilaterally on European goods, Europe will be forced to respond. But I'm cautiously optimistic that we will be able to avoid this scenario.
Λοιπόν, Άρση, πρώτη δυσπιστίας, την αναμένουμε.
Οι πηγές της Χαριλάου Τρικούπη αναφέρουν ότι εφόσον το χρονοδιάγραμμα τηρηθεί και τα πορίσματα δημοσιευτούν στις 27 του Φεβρουαρίου, την ίδια μέρα ή και την επομένη θα προχωρήσει σε πρόταση δυσπιστίας. Να πούμε εδώ ότι χρειάζονται 50 βουλευτές για να προχωρήσει. Το Πασόκ θεωρεί ότι θα τις συγκεντρώσει, γιατί από την αντιπολίτευση θα υπογράψουν την πρόταση δυσπιστίας. Ο ΣΥΡΙΖΑ θα δυσκολευτεί, εκτιμάμε, να συγκεντρώσει τις 50 υπογραφές που χρειάζονται, οπότε μένει να δούμε πρώτον αν θα δημοσιευτούν στις 27 και πώς θα προχωρήσει η αξιωματική αντιπολίτευση.